has seen it all. He tells Rosenstein's henchmen, do you even have the power to indict Manafort? Aren't you overstepping your authority to investigate Russia collusion during the 2016 presidential election? And in their inimitable way, the arrogant, almighty Mueller team responds in an open courtroom to a federal judge. We have additional powers. We cannot disclose them in this courtroom because of an ongoing investigation and because it will affect national security. If you ever doubted that the mission of Special Counsel Robert Mueller in the Russia investigation is to secure the scalp of a sitting president, then listen up. For the first time, real evidence, not of Russia collusion, but of the Mueller team's all-out war on our president.
So I want to just interject as she talks because I love Judge Jeanine, American patriot and hero and brilliant lady on Fox News. What people need to keep in the back of your mind as you listen to this wonderful dissertation by this incredible woman, they're not going after Trump because they really hate Trump. They're covering their asses. They're all into this up to their ears. Nobody's bringing this up. Hillary Clinton is as dumb as a bag of horse manure. She really is. Forget about her politics. I would argue that most socialists are dumb. Just look at them, they're cartoons. But she's exceptionally dumb. And it is her stupidity that subsidizes her arrogance, not the other way around. You can be a brilliant person and be arrogant. I know a lot of them. But she's beyond that level of arrogance. And to hit the true high altitude of that type of arrogance, you have to have an ocean of inanity in you. You have to be really dumb. Why do I bring that up? Because do you think she set up this whole idea about servers and BleachBit? She was being handled. Her masters were handling her. And among the franchise players in that group and cabal was Mueller from the beginning, and Comey. And let me tell you what they've been doing. When you try to grab a lizard's tail, one of its greatest defenses is his tail breaks off. It'll grow back. This is the monster we're dealing with. So Comey gets fired. They cut it away. Trump, being kind of naive about this stuff, because he's used to dealing with scoundrels that have a profit motive, not political scoundrels that it isn't that they're not motivated by profit and millions of dollars. They are. But these people are political, diabolical snakes. And what people need to understand is they'll sacrifice their minions because they know at the end of the game, if they win, everybody gets a pardon, everybody gets a trophy. So Comey gets cut loose, fine. Sessions, you think Sessions wasn't in this from the beginning? I think they cozied him up to Trump because their insurance is on echelon. In other words, line after line after line. Like when the Nazis tried to take the Russians down, the Russians built lines of defense for hundreds and hundreds of miles. So by the time the Nazis got a third of the way into Russia, they were done. And this is what you have here. So Comey gets sacrificed, Sessions gets sacrificed, in comes Rosenstein and Mueller. This looks like the Gestapo. And the arrogance. We don't have to answer to a judge. We answer to a higher power and we will not answer your questions. Nicht schuldig. Did you ever watch the trials of Nuremberg? This is the arrogance in all of political history. I've never read about anything like this. So their arrogance doesn't come from stupidity. Their arrogance is generated by a dynamo of fear because every one of these guys, Mueller included, Comey, Rosenstein. I believe McCain's involved. Jeff Sessions involved. Okay. McCabe, Strzok, the pawns that they threw right up, they're in up to their neck. But this goes deep. They never thought they'd lose a handle on the franchise head. They never saw Trump coming. Never saw him coming. And and that's what's amazing about this is you have to know they're covering their asses. They have no choice but to insurrect at this point and maybe assassinate. That's how deep they're involved. They set up the illegal servers. They were monitoring all this because that was their business. They were in bed with these Russian oligarchs. It's interesting that Paul Manafort was friends with the Ukrainians who have been in a death struggle with Russia. How does this come out in the wash? And now we find out Mueller was in bed with these Russians and set up FBI meetings with these oligarchs. That's a euphemism for wealthy Russian snakes, usually from banking or whatever. But this is going to get bad, people. We're on the brink of a civil war because one way or another, you know what's hitting the fan.
Incident was played out in a federal courthouse in Virginia. The judge, United States District Court Judge T.S. Ellis III, took no prisoners in addressing the motivation and the intent, as well as the underlying authority of the so-called special counsel. Judge Ellis, a well-respected jurist, has handled some of the highest-profile national security cases in this country. His politics have never been questioned. He was born in Bogota, Colombia, served in the United States Navy, and graduated both Princeton and Harvard. The colloquy between this respected judge and prosecutor Andrew Weissman, whose ethics and integrity have been repeatedly attacked by federal courts for years, was astonishing, even to a veteran of the courtroom like myself. You'll recall that Manafort stands accused by Team Mueller in two separate indictments of money laundering, bank fraud, and lobbying crimes when he worked for the Ukrainian, not Russian government. Judge Ellis, no friend of Manafort, threatened that Manafort was faced with the real possibility of spending the rest of his life in prison. He told Manafort that given his financial means, as well as his international connections, that he posed a substantial flight risk from
Let me qualify myself right here as a conservative. If Paul Manafort did anything illegal with lobbyists, hang him. That's the difference between us conservatives and liberals. Liberals, they circle the wagons. They hold candlelight vigils on the lawn of the White House when Billy Clinton was in trouble. We don't do that. When Nixon got taken down, it was Howard Baker that asked the salient question in the Watergate hearings, what did the president know and when did he know it? That was the incredible Republican senator from Tennessee, Howard Baker. With that authoritative Southern voice, it was amazing. It was Pat Buchanan that came and told Richard Nixon, pack your bags, it's time to go. See, we put our own people out when they do wrong. You know what the Democrats do? They double down because they're communists. They don't believe in democracy. They pay lip service to it, but actually their agenda is slavery for everybody on an equal level except them. So when you're hearing this get sorted out, understand what you're dealing with. And these apparatchiks, Mueller, Comey, these types of guys, Brennan in the CIA, they really think it's their government because they see politicians come and go and they're still there for 35 years and sometimes longer. So they don't think they should answer to a judge, a temporary congressman or senator, or president. I'll tell you who they answer to. Anybody who puts money in their pocket and gives them more power. And that's K Street lobbyists who do the bidding of foreign powers, whether they be our friends or foes. They all end up being the enemy of the people in a democracy. I would outlaw lobbying tomorrow. It would be outlawed. And any petitioning of any congressman or any solicitation by any congressman or senator should be filtered through a body of civilians, half Republican, half Democrat, or half conservative, however you want to break it up. Like they did in ancient Athens, we need a stoa, where people who come in Let's say they come in for 2 years, and that's it. Citizens, no one else, just like jury duty. And you come in, and you monitor what these fools are up to. And it's all based on propitious behavior. You don't have to be a legalistic genius. There'll be lawyers to help you interpret and sort it out, but we need a STOA. This has to stop. Like we needed a NAP commission because the police in New York, with all the corruption, were always saying, oh, we could police ourselves. Yeah, that'll happen. What do you think, the FBI's not cops? They're the same species, right? So they don't want anyone looking in like the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain and seeing just how dirty they are. And man, have they shown the world how dirty they are. They're willing, by the way, to take us to World War III by slapping Russia and China to protect themselves. Think about that. They'll see you nuked before they give up their cozy chairs.
Justice. But yesterday, as Manafort's team sought dismissal of Mueller's indictment based on lack of jurisdiction, the court did a 180, accusing the prosecutors of not only trying to take down the president, but of trying to wield unfettered power. Now, you may recall that it was in May of 2017 that
Herr Rosenstein! Doesn't he look like Goebbels?
Signed an order appointing Mueller special counsel to investigate Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election and related matters. Ironically, in the order, Mueller is authorized to conduct an investigation generated by Director of the FBI James Comey's House Intelligence Committee testimony. Isn't it curious that it was Rod Rosenstein who wrote the 2017 memo saying that Jim Comey should be fired, saying, quote, the FBI's reputation and credibility have suffered substantial damage affecting the entire justice. Rosenstein adding, he doesn't understand Comey's refusal to accept the nearly universal judgment that he made serious mistakes in the handling of the collusion or an end conclusion of Clinton's email investigation. That Comey was, according to Rosenstein, a textbook example of what prosecutors and agents are taught not to do.
See what I mean? That's part of the lizard's tail. So it looks like he's on Trump's side. We have to get rid of Comey. No, he's not. Now they put him in a position by cutting him loose. He can't be prosecuted. And now he can really go do damage, like when he went and dropped the bomb on his Columbia professor buddy to try to get Trump impeached. See what they do? They jettison you. They don't do it to hurt you. They say, hey, look, you're going to take a few lumps in the newspaper, but who cares? You'll keep all your perks, your pensions, and in the end, we'll win. You'll be exonerated in the end. Trump will be disposed of. We'll protect crooked Hillary. And the beat goes on, and we'll all get rich and live happily ever after. And these schmuck Americans, they're too stupid to figure this out anyway.
He adds that prosecutors from different eras and both political parties agreed that Comey violated the rules and regulations as well as the traditions of the FBI, ending with his recommendation that, quote, the FBI is unlikely to regain public confidence and congressional trust unless Comey is gone. And yet, in the most blatant display of public corruption and personal cover your own butt, Rosenstein appoints both Comey and his friend Mueller to begin an investigation generated from the disrespected, tainted testimony of the same man that he wanted fired.
Now you understand why? Because it's CYA circle of wagons. Fire, hire, duck, cover and roll. That's what all this is. And in the meantime, the people watching and trying to keep track of this have run out of scorecards, run out of all mental energy to try to keep up with this. And here's the bottom line, people. We have gangsters running our government in the deep state. Hillary didn't solicit them, they picked her. And she's stupid enough to actually go along with it and do whatever they said. Take hammers to your cell phones. Use bleach bit. Don't worry, we got guys that'll set up the servers, so when you got to do all that shady stuff that keeps us in the gravy, no one will ever know. We'll show you how to do it. We'll put it in safe houses. These people are not just involved in the cover-up, the Muellers. They're involved in the setup. They manufactured this whole thing. And that's what people need to know. I would suggest everybody check that link at the top where Judge Jean talks about the rest of this, because I'm going to sign off.